Mejivalia ngozi ya kondo.
I have white hair. I think I'm quite wise.
I think with that I can comfortably conclude on behalf of all other careers. No one who wears ngozi ya kondo kwa kichwa.
You need to be proud of your stairs, eh?
Panda lift. Hello everyone, welcome to yet another episode of the Pipeline Podcast. And today we are discussing matters law. How does law affect engineering? How does law, or rather what takes place as far as law is concerned within the engineering practice? What do we need lawyers for? And such, etc. And today we are privileged to have one of our very own. I'll let her introduce herself. One of our staff in the legal section of our office, Madam Grace. Karibu sana. Asante for gracing us with your presence today. So maybe you can just start by telling us who you are and what exactly do you do?
Thank you so much. My name is Grace Kiruri. I'm an advocate of the High Court of Kenya. I have been an advocate for this is my 7th year.
Mm-hmm.
I have a Master of Laws degree in law. And so that's been my career. Although what I studied in Masters is not what I'm doing now.
Mm-hmm.
So probably I'll say fate and chance fell into place. Mm-hmm. That is why I'm in the construction world.
Awesome. So what exactly do you mean by an advocate of the High Court? You had that being thrown around, if I may say. What exactly does it mean? What's the difference between an advocate of the High Court and any other person with a law degree?
So as you've said, we have a lawyer and we have an advocate. Mm-hmm. A lawyer has done the 4 years at the university. Mm-hmm. This person cannot represent you in court, but they can be in a position to draft documents for you, mm-hmm. and give opinions here and there. Mm-hmm. But when you go to the Kenya School of Law, you do a training called the Advocates Training Program, where now you're taught to, go to court, mm-hmm. to draft court documents, mm-hmm. to argue. There's even a course called a trial advocacy, how to question people in court, mm-hmm. cross-exam. So that's the difference between an advocate and a lawyer. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Wow, interesting. All right. So maybe you could tell us what inspired you to pursue a career in law. How did you find yourself in law?
I don't know. I think there were telltale signs as to I'll probably be a lawyer. And I'll look at it in 2 different scenarios. When I was in class 6 or class 5, I think, and I'm very deliberate in saying I think I had a boyfriend. And why I say that is there's this guy. There's this guy who was in class, but he was not answering questions. And I used to, nilikuwa namtetea sana. And so I think he thought that I loved him, I don't know. But one day, it was a Valentine's Day, he came with a group of other boys to our home. And then that's when my brother was telling me, I think that's your boyfriend. I'm like, oh, that's, When I look back, throughout the years, I've always been doing that. I was in the same class with my sister. I would raise up my hand in class and tell, teacher, you've not asked my sister a question. Mm-hmm. So I see it from back then. But when I was in Form 2, I had my favorite aunt, the late, yeah? She looked at my photo and told my mom in Kikuyu, this girl will be a very tough magistrate. I'm in Form 2. I don't know if I'll be a lawyer. I don't know. I don't know. I wanted to be a doctor, yeah? So I didn't know. And I'll say fate and chance brought us here. Because at some point, I realized after Form 4, my dad asked me, what do you want to do? I told him, please, you can pay for me law school. He told me, go look for a law school. Mm-hmm. I'll pay. I went, looked for the school, and started.
Lo and behold.
Yes. So is it fate and chance? Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Wow. Interesting. You took quite a tangent there. You dived into your love life. Alleged line, like, because like we said, I'm not sure.
I still don't know.
All right. So what was your first job in the industry and any learnings from it?
So my first job in the industry, and when I say my first job, it's not the first place that I worked. I'm talking about when I was admitted to the bar. So that first job was a construction company. It is or was one of the big construction companies. And when I was doing my pupillage, I saw it. Somebody told me about it, and I was fantasizing about working in that place. You can imagine you're working for Person X and you're thinking, I can't wait to work for this place. And so when I got that job, it was a big construction company, and I was green. What I did is that I did everything imaginable that needed to be done. I would go to the projects department whenever they were bidding documents. We would actually transnight bidding for documents. That's how I knew how bidding is done. Then when it comes to the banking sector, maybe the company is taking a loan, I am there with the accounts people. We had a logistics department. I attend the transport meetings so that I just understand. You hear that, there's a HR thing, I am there. So what I did is that for those 3 years, I just went to every other department. I then realized that, you now have a good basis of what that is. Now, in those 3 years, I realized that if I was not in the construction world, legal construction world, I don't want to be anywhere else. So if I'm not at Synergetic doing the construction thing, maybe I'll be in another construction entity just doing it. I find that the construction world is very diverse. I cannot wake up today and say that I have come to look at this document. William will call me and tell me, Grace, I need help. I'll stop whatever I had planned, help him go back, then somebody else comes. So that is basically how I see that.
Interesting. So this company, when you are brought on board, you're not necessarily in the construction department, but you found...
The company was a construction company.
Okay.
Ni kujituma. Team kujituma. Like, I used to ask people, how can I help? What are you guys doing? So that then with time you realize, the construction field is really wide.
Yeah.
And if it's wide, you need to be all over the place trying to help.
I find that very interesting because from the previous, something that we are noticing across board, most of the interviews we are getting is just because you're employed does not mean you don't have kujituma. Most of the guys that you're interviewing, you're realizing they came in for a job and they found a way to thrive by kujituma. They didn't just come and, mi niko na kazi, report, clock in at 8, clock out at 5, So interesting perspective. Are there any current trends in law that excite you? Anything you see that is happening now, any technological advancements, maybe any new trend that you see that is exciting for you?
I think when you use the word exciting, it's not exciting. Last year, I had a moment to fear. Let me call it a moment of fear when I realized we have ChatGPT and Ask AI, and I remember asking myself, are these things going to replace us as lawyers? Because there's a tendency, if you look at the Constitution provides that you can even represent yourself. And I had a moment of, wait, are we going to be quickly replaced? So that's not really exciting, but I'll say it's interesting because I had a moment to ask myself, what would I do or what can I do to make Grace relevant? Because the reason as to why you come to Grace for legal advice, you can as well read, but there's something that I give to you that will make you want to come to Grace and ask her, please give me your legal advice, So that's what I can say with regards to AI and the trends, So it is very easy to think that you can be an advocate as a lay person because you can read the law, but now interpreting, making law a personal thing, I think that is how you marry it.
Wow. So basically, AI, it's somehow affecting legal practice, isn't it? If I hear what you're saying correctly.
It may.
It may
significantly reduce our work. When I look at maybe the land transactions, you can easily do those transfers with your phone. Forming a company, you don't even need a lawyer. Unless now there's some mistakes and I have to sort you out. If you're paying for business permit, for example, you just log in, yeah? But now the aspect that remains is the legal representation where you probably need a lawyer. But then you find that if, William, you're able to argue and pass your point across, you can sit, ask AI yourself, you Google and, So it is not a challenge in the present, but for me, you need to make yourself relevant. And I think it cuts across not just law,
basically
careers,
most careers, everyone has to sit and reevaluate and see how it basically affects them. And I think the other interesting thing that I'm realizing is, in as much as it might affect your career, it could also boost your career because basically make some of the processes that you do easier,
efficient.
I'm assuming some of the documents you have to draft, you no longer have to take 2 days. It can assist to do some documentation and whatnot, isn't it?
Yes. But lawyers, we are trained to desist from copy pasting. For me, anytime I use a template, I read each and every word. If it is not, you even end up removing commas because it is easy for you to say, this has been drafted, and then you realize it's not relevant. So it's more of make yourself useful in the field that you are in.
Wow. Okay. So what would you say are the most critical skills for a successful career in law? If someone wanted to practice law, are there any specific skill sets that they need to have or that you advise them to seek after?
Analytical skills. You need to be thorough. You cannot compromise on thoroughness. And then you must be a person who you're able to read widely. And most importantly, you must be a person who seeks excellence. You must have those 4 things to survive. Let me just start surviving. Especially if you don't have somebody who's backing you, you must be able to have those skills to be able to stand out, because I've seen situations whereby a judge will look at a pleading. A pleading is those documents you file in court, and the judge is struggling to understand the English or the articulation, and you see you're bringing a disrepute. So you need to be very thorough. You can't afford to have these small mistakes. You cannot. So I think those will be skills that are important. And then when I talk about excellence, you must state the standards, the bar. I cannot be competing with local, and allow me to say local. You must compete with yourself internationally, where you're asking if this document is presented in an international court or in an international or in other jurisdictions, will it stand the test of time? If the answer is no, please go back, redraft.
Redo it.
Yes.
Wow, interesting. So basically, they need to set the bar high.
Yes.
No puns intended.
Members of the bar, set your bar high.
So with those skills in mind, how do you approach problem solving when you're faced with complex legal challenges?
I've quickly realized that lawyers are not loners. You must have a network. First of all, assuming I'm in my chamber, you come and tell me that, Grace, I want you to defend me in a matter. Even if I'm not conversant with it, I'll not tell you, please go to X, Y, Z. Of course, I'll tell you I'll do it. But the first thing is you need to consult, you need to research. Because some of these complex matters are maybe not even known. It's maybe a one of one, So you cannot come and say, I'm sorry, we don't have such cases in Kenya. Try Uganda or try South Africa. So first of all, you must be able to network. You must be able to have people you can ask, in my phone, I have at least 5 advocates that I call, especially when I'm stranded and we exchange ideas and they're able to guide, We even exchange documents. I'm like, this is what I have drafted. Can it convince you? Allow me to digress and answer the question of why do you people feel, and you people, it means lay people, why do you feel that lawyers are liars? Why? It's because The intention of a lawyer is not to tell the court the truth. I am trying to convince the judge or the magistrate who is the fact finder to come to a conclusion that favors who? My client.
Your client.
So when I draft something and it's a challenging thing, I'll call one of my contacts or two. Please look at these pleadings and tell me, are you convinced? And we have very honest conversations. Grace, I am not convinced. Go back and redraft, yeah? So if you have those kind of colleagues, you're able to improve yourself because they will ask you a question. Why is this like this? And then you're like, oh, I had not captured that. So that's how I try and solve my, those complex things.
Interesting. So lawyers do not necessarily have to tell the truth.
The truth is relative, yeah? We're just trying to convince you
I like
that...
how you guys play around with words. You could be telling a blatant lie, but the way you're telling that lie, I know you are lying, but I'm almost convinced.
No,
I start questioning my truth.
Is it being economical with the truth? No. We are just convincing you to buy our stories. Yes.
Well, okay.
Ngumu.
Well, I'm so glad I'm not a lawyer. I don't know how I'll be able to sleep at night.
The Bible says, "Oh, unto you lawyers and teachers of the law." Woe unto us.
Okay. Interesting. So then, how do you stay updated with legal statutes, latest legal statutes? How do you catch up with recent laws passed in Parliament and all those?
Let me be honest, and I hope the lawyers who will come across this will forgive me. I don't think there's any lawyer who knows every law that is passed. But what happens is when you are a subject matter expert, for example, I am now in the construction field for now 7 years, yeah? I will be very interested in laws that touch the construction field, yeah? So I'm in networks that have those kind of things. I have colleagues around that, and we even have forums, yeah? Lawyers, we talk a lot. You have forums for maybe family law. So any new thing that has come for family law practitioners, it's shared there. People argue, people discuss, those kind of things. So I think the most important thing is to network and also read, yeah? And then you need to quickly make up your mind as to where you want to land, yeah? But unfortunately, sometimes that is not possible. Why? As I've told you that when I started, I didn't know where I want to fall. Fate and chance just figures it out. But as fate and chance is figuring it out, you need now to quickly make up your mind so that you're not at Synergetic and you're thinking that I need to do banking. This will not be a fit for you. Yes.
So basically when you start with a wide or rather big basket, and over time you start, how do you call it, specializing.
You narrow it down.
Yeah.
Actually, our degree is called Bachelor of Laws.
Oh.
We learn so many laws, and that is why I'm telling you, no lawyer in Kenya, I'll not say in the world, no lawyer in Kenya will come and tell you I'm not conversant. We've been told all types of laws. So with time, as you practice, you realize that I'm constantly getting criminal matters. So you start specializing towards that as you advance in your career, yeah? So that's how we figure it out.
So does that mean that maybe like yourself, when you're in the construction industry, if you get a criminal matter, how do you handle it? Or if you get a family law matter, how do you handle such a case?
Undergraduate, we've been taught the Bachelor of Laws. At Kenya School of Law, you've also been taught. So you're able to handle it. And so what there is that with time, you sharpen your skills, yeah? But if you then are not practicing it, it's not that you forget, but you're not as sharp as somebody who is active, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
So if a criminal matter comes to me, I'm not, it's not that I don't know the basics of criminal law. I do. But I'm not as confident as the person who goes every day to court to defend people with criminal matters.
Yeah. And also like the aspect you say that you have these pool of colleagues that you can bounce off some of these ideas from. Yes. And in that pool, you probably have people specialized in family, people specialized in criminal law, etc. Yes. So basically, it gives you like some form of network, isn't it?
Yes, it does.
That's a very interesting perspective. I wish Other professions would have that. I know for sure engineers don't, unless unless I'm individual engineers. You know, someone in electrical, who if you're a mechanical engineer, you can always bounce off ideas from that person. Yeah. Wow. Interesting.
Networking works, especially if you're young in your career. It really, for me, it has done marvelous for me.
Wow. Interesting. So, have you had any memorable moments in your career so far? Any memorable cases, memorable incidences?
So I would want to take you back to 19th of July, 2017. That was when I was admitted to the bar. I don't think there's any course I will ever do that will surpass the joy that I felt. I have a master's of law, but I don't think I was not as happy as I was when I was admitted. I keep telling people that I didn't believe that I'll be an advocate for one reason or the other. So when I finally became an advocate, we wore that wig and we robed. We call it robbing. And I kept looking at myself, hey, Grace, huyu ni wewe, hapa ni wapi mwalimu wa maths, you know? That feeling, I think that is the highlight, yeah? I have done several things in my career, things that are huge and big, but that one day, it goes back to everything.
Wow. So is it that the build up to it, the process for you to get there, what exactly made it that exciting? Was it quite that challenging to get there? Or?
Okay, I got an accident when I was a fresher first year. And I had a metal plate problem. I had a metal plate the whole of my hand. And I was doing what Nehemiah, I'm sorry if I'm using the Bible, but I was doing what Nehemiah was doing. You build with one hand and you take medication with the other. So at some point, I was just almost dropping out of law school because you're constantly in and out of hospital for major operations. And you're thinking, "Ai, ndatoboa bwana." So when you finally get there, you're like, hey, Bana, you know? And then at the master's level, it was not that challenging. If I was to do a PhD today, I don't know if it will be challenging, I don't know. But I don't think the struggles I went through those 6 years to this last day would compare to anything. So that is why that just stands out for me.
Oh, interesting. Interesting. Thank you for sharing that with us. So how do you, because my understanding is that you're in a management role at the moment, isn't it?
Yes.
So how do you balance your management responsibilities with your legal responsibilities? Because I think one of the challenges that most managers face is you're very good at what you do, which is legal practice. And then now senior management sees how good you're good at this and they decide to promote you. And most often you find managers struggling to balance. They are very good at doing the work, but now they have to add this extra responsibility of management. How do you balance that?
Let me tell you, Maina, that conflicts me a lot of times, yeah, because as I've said, there are those standards, irreducible minimums for lawyers, for an advocate. I don't expect to ask you to draft something and you miss out. For example, if you're to draft a contract, there are those elements of a contract that must be there. And then I come and give you work, you've not done it. You've been to school, you know what is expected. But now this is the management part. You need to apply, empathy, understanding. And sometimes you're trying to reconcile in your mind. Am I supposed to understand this? Am I supposed to stomach this? But what I have come to realize is that you need to be firm. You need to be firm. You need to communicate. There is a saying that I normally say it every day, that a leader can be wrong, but a leader cannot be unclear. If I want William to do something, I need to tell you exactly what I want you to do. I cannot come and jumbo there, no. So for me, when you have that clarity, this is how I expect things to be done, I'll not set you up for failure because we know. So that then if it is not done, I am seeking to understand, why is this not done? And we already agreed. Now, that is very simple to say. practicability, you need patience. You know, these things that you learn, emotional intelligence. You need to be understanding. Sometimes you need to actually put somebody and, you know, tell them that I am not going to tolerate this. So it's a mix of everything. But at the end of it all, I think what stands out is a leader can be wrong because we are human beings, we make mistakes, but you cannot be unclear. Be very clear on what you want.
Wow. A leader can be wrong, but a leader cannot be unclear.
Yes.
So Grace, what do you think are the biggest challenges facing legal practice today?
I could be wrong, and I hope I am wrong, yeah? But I think most young lawyers don't have mentors. I see that the Chief Justice is admitting a good number of people, and every time people had admitted, I remember how happy I was, yeah? But then I'm asking, who are these people mentoring these young lawyers, yeah? Because the law career is like an apprenticeship, yeah? Where you have to be molded into something. The law changed that after admission, you can just open your law firm. But I'll quote my former lecturer, PLO Lumumba, who said that you'll be released to the unsuspecting members of the public. So you can imagine you're trusting your future with Grace, who has very minimal shepherding. And why I'm saying that is minimal is because pupillage is at least 6 months. In my own opinion, I think you need at least 3 years for you to learn on the job. I told you when I started, I had to work under various people for at least 3 years for you to actually understand what is happening. I think 6 years is not enough. At the risk of lawyers bashing me, please don't bash me. But I think you need to be trained for at least 3 years. Because for you to be said to be an exceptionally good lawyer, you need at least 15 years to be a judge. That therefore means you need some accumulation of years and experience. So you can imagine you've been to law school, you do pupillage for 6 months, and you open a law firm. In a law firm, no one checks you. How are you drafting these documents? How are you advising? But that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense because I've seen it across board. There are some careers, again, making reference to engineering. You need at least 3 years working under a registered engineer for them to consider you. Not that they'll just register you, for them to
Consideration.
Yes. So I think it's very wise that people need to be. You're calling it pupillage, eh?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Then, are there any situations in your career or encounters you had that made you doubt yourself or made you doubt the career path that you choose?
I've had several, but there is one that stands out. The first case that I lost, they always say that the first time you lose, I have a doctor who is a friend, and I asked him one day, what is memorable, like the first patient that died? For me, it's the first loss that I had. I'm telling you, William, I didn't sleep. You know, I will go through those documents asking, what didn't I draft? Was it not convincing?
You see all the things you could have done.
Yes, and oh God. But eventually you realize that, this is life. You win some, you lose some, and that's okay. And, you accept. These days, yes, a client's case will really concern me, but I like to do my best. If I have done my best, lawyers are social engineers or doctors. So if I have done my best, I'll do what doctors say. We have done our best. We could not save the patient. That's I have learned, and it's not something that just comes. With time, you realize that the best you can do is to do your best.
Yeah. And if you really come to think of it, it's never usually 100% loss because there are lessons learned that you get from there, isn't it?
Yes.
What you could have done differently. It even makes you a better lawyer for your next case. There's something that you should have said that you didn't, that now you're going to say in the next case, isn't it? Wow, interesting.
Adulting is hard,
Yeah.
You get some, you lose some, but that day, anyway, it was just a bad day, not a bad life.
Interesting. So, apart from such situations, are there things that you enjoy about your work in law?
I love drafting. I enjoy drafting. Why do I like drafting? I see drafting like weaving. Because before I draft, I'll ask you, what did you guys agree? And so I am putting your thoughts, your feelings, and emotions into words. I love drafting. I can draft any time of the day and review. So I love drafting, and maybe that's what I enjoy.
Wow, interesting. And how do you see your role contributing to societal advancement and problem solving?
Um, my role at Synergetic, my role as a lawyer.
Both or either?
My role at Synergetic is that I feel that I do a lot of meeting of the minds. Maybe the board of directors want something to be done. They'll just tell me what they want it done. And then I'm to stress myself on how will this be done? You know, that kind of a thing. And not just the board, even departments like your department. We have sessions with you and your colleagues. We are trying to understand, and then you're telling, this is what us guys agreed. So it's up to me to put it into writing. Yeah, I see that as that. My role as in the society, I mostly deal with Wakili, a quick one. My friend, Wakili, a quick one, and for me that is more of how I give back to society. I normally say, as long as you're a student, you want me to stamp documents for you, I'll do those for free. As long as you're a student. Somebody helped me when I was a student. So if you come to me and you just stamp it and go do what you need to do. But I have to authenticate that this area. I mentor a lot of people, a lot of young ladies want to be lawyers. Young men want to be lawyers. So you talk to them, you tell them, and then mine is a story that nimepambana na hali, like literally. So it's more of telling them that it's doable, especially if you're doing it in the right way. I used the stairs, literally. I've used the stairs in my career. And so I'd like to tell them that you can do things right and you can get there in the right way.
Use the stairs.
Hakuna elevator.
Hata hizi tumia escalator. You know escalator iko na shape of stairs. They use the stairs.
Yes.
I think most of, I don't know whether to say our generation, but the current generation, we even call the colloquial microwave generation. We always want things to be done.
ASAP.
ASAP. Sai. You know, I want my lunch sai. I don't want to go through the process, what you're referring to as stairs. Nataka nipande lift na niko 6th floor.
Na nitafika by the way.
I don't have, why do I have to go up the stairs? We forget that stairs, if you can just use that example, the stair that you're using, number one, it's better for your health. Number two, it will take you a long time, but it will still get you there. And by the time you're getting there, you even feel better about yourself, isn't it?
Yes.
Compared to just...
How I see it is that the stairs will give you a particular form of discipline that the elevator won't. I can tell you, William, I've had situations whereby I was budgeting for my salary, every other coin. Unalipa rent, unajua, by the way, nikienda tu mchezo ya kwenda shopping, mnalala njaa, you know, so it gives you that discipline. Na pesa inaacha kukutisha, such that now you're now trusted even more, because now somebody knows, even if I was to give Grace this money, haitamtisha. But you see, if you get there through the elevator, there are things you won't learn. I know the elevator saves you time, it saves you the sweat, but there are those things that
there's some nitty-gritty.
Those things that you can't learn kwa elevator. Kwa stairs utapata watu walimwaga maji, kuna takataka, unafagia, unatafuta mop, unapanguza. You don't get that kwa elevator unless stima ipotea alafu muanguke.
True. And also, if you use the stair enough times, you can take the same amount of time the guy will take the elevator.
Yes.
Isn't it?
Experience. That's your experience.
Yes. You struggle initially, but a time is coming. Wewe na mtu elevator, you'll be arriving at the same time.
Yes.
Know? Yes. Oh, interesting. I'm really enjoying this interview because the nuggets are just flowing, you know.
I have white hair. I think I'm quite wise.
A lot of suitable faces. So, if you could work on any practice in the world, if you're given a blank check, the world is your oyster, as the proverbial saying goes, where would you want to work?
Nikwambie ukweli ama nikuchoche?
Okay. You say there's a political answer.
Yes.
Then there's a correct answer. And those two do not necessarily have to be the same.
Which answer do you want?
But here both, which one will cut off?
I want to be a magistrate or a judge. Why? I have tasted injustice and I want to give people fairness. I know in the world that we live in, it's very hard for you to say this is a man or a woman of integrity. But I pray that one day I'll be a member of the bench. William, I'll not care how many billions you give me. If it is not justice, I will not give you a through pass. That's what I want.
Rafiki yako nikikuja nikwambie, Grace, remember our days at Synergetic.
Because when you taste the pill of unfairness and helplessness, you will know that at the stroke of a pen, somebody loses their house. Somebody loses their livelihood. And you will not want to have that conscious, waking you up. By the way, unajua nani analala nje juu yako. So I will try as much as possible to be a woman of honor and integrity. I'll really do that. Niseme, so help me God. Now, the other thing is that I have a master's in public international law. I thought I wanted to do international criminal law. I have that background. And even what I see around the world, the Bangladesh thing that just happened, I remember going through X, and all I could think of is human atrocities. When you look at Ukraine, you look at Palestine, Israel, and those are the things that just cross my mind. I don't know if that is a sleeping lion that will wake up one day. Maybe fate and chance will take me there. But those are some of the things that you see and you...
Yeah, you could see yourself doing in future.
Probably.
Okay, interesting. I have a feeling that was the political answer. So then, how would you envision your legacy in your legal practice?
I started building my legacy as soon as I was admitted to the bar. And what I wanted to be is to be a household name. I want any person akisikia Grace Kiruri is coming to talk to us. You all sit down and tell us more. Talk to us, yeah? I want to be that brand. At that time, I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I'm starting to get clarity in terms of, with time, you're realizing, these are the things I want to talk about. These are the things I want to be a specialist in. I am headed there. I'm not yet there, but I'm starting to build. I had given myself a 10-year plan. I am in my 7th year. So 3 more years to have that brand. I've tirelessly worked for it. Yes.
Do you see yourself achieving it in the 3 years?
Yes. Actually, I may achieve it in the next 2.
Wow. 1 year ahead of schedule.
Habana.
When we grow up.
You're sorry.
We have New Year resolutions that by 5th of January, you make them on the 1st of January, but by 5th.
Like, let's default settings, but now we'll try again next year.
All right. So Grace, as we conclude, do you have any, what are your hobbies and how do they influence your work, if they do, that is?
I know that it's expected that I have very serious hobbies, yeah? I don't. But I am, those vibeful aunties? I am those aunties. Anyone who... I am literally the Auntie Oharia, for real. Anyone who calls me auntie, no, that when we schedule, because what I do, I try to shape them into what I think is good. So like my nieces, when saizi I've told them that on this particular day, I bought each a book and told them that you're going to read me a full chapter. And then what to class 2. And as soon as you're done reading for me, and it has to be coherent, you choose where you want us to go. And that day, ni kucheza, kuzurura, eat what you want to do. And then I am that aunt, when the children are dancing, tuko kwa floor tukianguka nayo. And that's just what I do, yeah. I think I value family time. So those are my hobbies. I don't have very interesting hobbies.
Nurturing the next generation and spending time with family.
Yes, I'll probably say that.
Oh, I thought you'd say crocheting. I had you had mentioned
Weaving.
things like weaving is like crocheting.
I am a person who works very hard and I part hardier. If there's a word as hardier. But I like to have that balance. You work very hard, and then when it comes to, enjoying life, life is for the living.
True. All right. And again, as we close, do you have any parting shots or advice to someone who's just starting out or someone who's thinking of practicing law or pursuing a career in law?
Probably not just law. What I would probably tell the young people, learn to be patient, but most importantly, learn to be patient with yourself. Trust your process, work against that, so that then you're able to build accumulatively. Because I don't think there's an easy career, including the simplest of the careers. It's not easy. So learn to be patient. I'm not saying what to acquire too complacent, yeah? Be patient with yourself. It takes time to build, yeah? But learn to be patient with yourself. And I still have those pep talks with myself. Please relax. I know you want to live in Runda, but now you're living here. Relax, yeah? We are building towards that, yeah? Yes. So that is what I will tell any young person behind there. For me, it matters not what career you do. Even if I was not a lawyer, I'm very sure I'll be flourishing in what I'm doing. It's not about my career. I think it's what I carry. So, young person, be very patient with yourself and work consistently. Yes.
Be patient with yourself.
Yes.
Embrace using the stairs.
To be a stairs, huh?
Find a lift. So I have 2 questions here that I know most of our viewers would want to know, rather to hear from a lawyer. Typical question, things that I've always wanted. Nimekuwa nikingoja opportunity ya kukaa na lawyer nimuulize hizi swali.
Those are cheeky ones. I wonder what those questions will be.
So why do lawyers call each other learned? Are you guys insinuating that the rest of us, the years we spend in school, we are not doing anything? Why do you people call yourself learned?
I'll try to be modest in the answer, but lawyers are learned friends, but the others are educated friends.
Okay, I'll give you an opportunity to explain.
You see, the law career falls way back to England and all those things. And for you to do law, it was a second degree. Most of the time, law wasn't a first degree. It's only recently that it's now a first degree. So for you to be told that XYZ is a solicitor, is an attorney, this person had a background in other fields, yeah? So umemaliza degree yako ya engineering and you're a lawyer, it means you have the time and the devotion to actually do that. And then as I told you that it's Bachelor of Laws. So you find that these people have been trained all those things. And that is why I started by telling you, a lawyer, you cannot tell a lawyer they don't know anything. They know where to find the law. They know where to find the information. And they will find it, interpret it for you, and present it to you. So that's why I'm saying we are learned friends.
So basically, if I hear what you're saying correct, is the fact that when you're representing an engineer, you have to learn something about engineering.
Yes.
When you're representing a doctor, you have to learn something about medicine. So all these different facets, you have a vast knowledge of, or rather you're required to have a vast knowledge of almost everything. not
And that's why I
necessarily-
started talking about specialization. Like I am in the construction field. Look at it from the perspective of I've been in this field for 7 years. There are those clauses in the FIDIC that I don't have to scratch my head wondering, is this clause here or not? Yeah. But somebody who's not in this field, they wouldn't know. But if I told them, look for a document called FIDIC, they'll start figuring out. Yeah. So basically, I'm not saying that for me to represent William in court, I have to go study engineering, but the specific aspect that takes you to court, I must be in a position to understand it. Not know it, understand it and defend you.
and argue it out
Yes.
in court.
Yes. And that now takes you to, you have to learn. And that's why I told you at the start, you're given something new, you look for friends who have that background. You research and you're able to do that.
So you look for friends who are learned.
Fellow learned friends.
No, you both cannot be disrespecting the
We are sorry.
The rest of us, you call it
Educated friends.
educated. No. This
Joshua, visit.
last question.
Yes.
There's this song, popular song that says, umejivalia ngozi ya kondoo. Mbona unavaa nguo ya kondoo kichwa?
I would,
Why? Of all things, and you're calling yourself learned, and you're wearing ngozi ya kondoo kwa kichwa. Why?
I wish ungeniambia ni research nijue kwa nini tunavaa wig. But I think that is robing that was used huko in the medieval England. I don't know. Wacha nisikudanganya, I don't know. There's somebody who introduced themselves one day. Alisema, good morning. I found them calling me XYZ. And that will be my answer. I found lawyers
Wearing
wearing wigs. Nikaingia kwa rimu. I don't know, but there should be a history as to why.
So it's more historical.
Yes, it's, you know, we borrowed our laws from England, yeah? So it's more historical. I am sorry, lawyers, I don't remember that part. Maybe I didn't go to class on that day. I don't know, I don't remember.
I think with that, I can comfortably conclude on behalf of all other careers. No one who wears ngozi ya kondoo kwa kichwa and they don't know the reason why should call themselves learned.
Yeah. Occupy, William, occupy.
On a light note, these lawyers do not come for me.
Occupy, lawyers, you're going to occupy, William.
Mimi sina ubaya, usishare namba yangu nisalimie.
Asalimie strategy is working, yeah? And
Namba yangu tuma kitu, usinisalimie. But asante sana. Thank you for, it's been a very interesting podcast. A lot of nuggets of wisdom, a lot of learning a lot of new things, really. It's been a very enjoyable time with you, Madam Grace. Asante sana for making time. We hope that you'll be able to, when we call you again, you'll be able to come and join us.
I'll be back. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be in a position to actually talk with you, yeah?
Asante.
Thank you.
If you see people going through that,